what formats or delivery methods do you think are sort of best? Now, you've already answered this question as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
My psychic powers did not allow me to anticipate that, which is why we're doing this thing here. But what would be other possible ways, other than the 2-day intensive, because sometimes that's not going to be an option,
Right.
that you think would be other less ideal but more optimal delivery methods for this kind of training that you're talking about? Especially how could you convert, sorry to keep going, but I want to make this super clear. How could you convert that ideal 2-day offsite into some other delivery format, which is like, this isn't ideal, but it's as close as we can get under the conditions like you described, right? It was like you didn't have time to take those brand new leaders away for 2 days because you had to scale up and they had to be leaders right now. So what would be the ideal or the optimal compromise to deliver that training you're describing?
Yeah, no, it's a really great question. And one that I've thought about often. One of the things that I've considered is some type of video series where, I teach the concept and then allow them to, view it when it works best for them. But I found also with that, there has to be some point of accountability around it, just because we allow everybody to, take up our time. And so, I'm all about making a firm commitment of this is on your calendar and you will be watching this video for this hour. And this is when you're doing it. And then, on top of that hour, there has to be coming together in some type of group to discuss and talk about it, because it helps you to, when you know that you're going to be meeting with other people and you're going to get called out and questioned about what you were supposed to do, and have a little bit of homework, you're going to prepare, because you don't necessarily want to look like an idiot and like, I'm the only one who didn't do this. And so just kind of going off of people's own fears of not wanting to look dumb in front of everybody else, making sure that you show up, prepared and then ready to discuss. And then I think that discussion, that conversation that you could have together could be so, empowering and impactful for the people that are there, because you're going to hear so many different perspectives of what they've just viewed. And so I think that, to me, that would probably be a second best solution. Definitely understanding time is a killer, and and none of us have nearly enough of it. But I think that other big thing is just stressing with, upper leadership or executive leadership of how important this is. Like, you cannot not train your people in leadership. You just cannot leave that on the wayside. If you do, you are going to be sitting with all of the organizations that are dealing with 82% of their people not liking their leader, or not liking, and I wouldn't even use the word leader, because that's not, the person isn't a leader, not liking their manager or their boss and considering leaving the organization because of that. That number is way too big for us to just leave that sitting off to the side and hope that it just fixes itself. It's not going to happen.
Couldn't agree more. There's a large difference between I'm the leader because of my position, where I sit in the org chart is like, no, now this is a long time ago. I don't remember which book, but it was one of the ones by a group called, of course, it's going to escape me now. They did a book called Change Anything. So it's like, they're gone, but it's a fantastic book. And it talks about specifically that too, that being somebody who, one of the books was actually called Influencers. That was one of the books they did. Vital Smarts is the company. I can't remember the authors off the top of my head, but they talk about how it could be the janitor, could be an influencer, that is somebody who is respected and listened to because they know something, just like your dad. Your dad, it wasn't his position that allowed him to be a leader. It was his skills that allowed him to be a leader rather than the person you're forced to listen to, who is not, as you said, a manager or a boss, but a leader would be an overly generous statement. I love that. Okay. And I really love the accountability part of it. And you tapped back into that group genius thing, right? Accountability, commitment, and consistency, and other things that come up where you're going to get busted. So go ahead, do your lessons even asynchronously, but then there's going to be a checking of your understanding as well as support to improve your understanding. So you can't just say, yeah, I did it, and then expect that would be okay. It's like, this isn't optional. It's flexible, but it's not optional. You got to do this.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Next one is